Has the cruise been fun so far? Okay, okay. You know, I got to tell you, Alaska, 2016, this doesn't suck. Okay. And except for the foghorn in the morning, okay, that was a little scary, but you know, I don't think we ran over too many people. Okay, now with Dr. Tim O'Shea, and Alessandro Priscilla, Dr. Mike, I mean, the theme is like your body's smart, don't screw it up, okay? And it's almost like the exact opposite of what the medical world is. So we're gonna go over literally how the body works, okay? And I mean, just basic common knowledge. They don't teach this stuff in school, but they should, because it'll give you an appreciation for it. And you know, one of the things, and I gave a speech out in Tennessee, and there was like 1,600 people there. And I said, you know, everybody stand up, and you know, thank God 1,600 people stood up. And I said, okay, sit down if you, a family, friend, or know someone that had cancer. Bam, half the people. If you know a friend, a family, or a loved one has been affected by heart disease, bam, you know, and mental disorder, bam. So pretty much there were like 3 people standing up. And I said, well, do we have a healthy population? And when you start looking at it, what's wrong? Because we're not getting healthier, obviously. I mean, we're looking at 50% of our population is going to get cancer. You're talking autoimmune disorders, heart disease, liver disease. Now, these are not diseases that you can catch. They're diseases you got to earn. Okay, and people don't understand that. So you know, granted, we did a talk on infants, okay, just to survive the first year. And we are, 1960, the reason I picked that is that was the year I was born. Okay, we were kicking butt, man. We're just 12th in the world, okay? Now, we're 58th in infant mortality. I mean, El Salvador, Croatia, all these countries are better than us at allowing a child to survive their first year. And then when we look at this, 26,000 kids a year die? I mean, that's unheard of. And so when we look at this, and this is the same planet, by the way. Okay, when we're looking at this, we've got Finland, Japan, Portugal. What are we doing? Okay, it's the same species here, but the kids are not surviving. Okay, does that make sense? So it's almost like we've got to rethink this. Now, there's 1 in 2 kids today have a chronic illness or disease, and that just doesn't make any sense. So when you start looking at this, obviously, you know, the pediatricians, the doctors, this is almost like a social experiment. And if anyone's ever tried to find the rates of autism, it's almost impossible to get accurate data on it. It's so frustrating because they're checking 8 and 10-year-olds, and it pretty much shows up around 2 to 3, 18 months generally after they get their shots. So this is not accurate, 1 in 45. They say the most accurate is about 1 in 18. What we do know is by 2025, and more than likely, and remember, this is 2016 now, so we're talking 9 years, 1 in 2 kids will have autism. But that's autism. Okay, we're not, these are the walking dead, okay? We're not talking about the walking wounded. So what we're doing doesn't make sense. I mean, it's almost like if you got a real good friend that's driving 80 miles an hour into a block wall, you know, and you're talking to them on the cell phone, dude, you could stop, you could turn, you could brake, you know, there's a lot of choices, but it doesn't make any sense. So in the muster drill, okay, you know, when you're getting ready, like to leave port, you have to come in and they sound the alarm and you're sitting in a room and they're showing you how to put a life jacket on. Okay, everybody was there, right? We're on a boat. Okay, well, I'm in there and this gal has got a boot, a plastic boot on from a foot injury. And I said, well, you know, you hurt your foot. She says, yeah, you know, I dropped something on it. And I said, well, you know, here's a couple of exercises that you can do. And then she started to talk how she has hematochromatosis. And I said, well, you know, it's genetic, she's telling me. It runs in her family. There's nothing you can do. And so she is like the absolute ultimate victim. And I explained to her that there's a difference between genetic and genetic expression, that instead of looking at that the blood is not healthy, look at how the blood is produced. Look at your overall lifestyle. Look at what you're taking in. And she couldn't understand that because, you know, it's a liver disease or it's a something else disease and it's genetic. And I said, really, you know, do you have any families, you know, any family members that don't have this condition? I know, you can't really talk logic to people that are in that. So what's causing our population to be sick? Genetics, virus, bacteria, fungus, you know. Of course we know if we only had a vaccine for it and we got there soon enough. And don't worry, because don't worry about the lack of medication, because now healthy people, if you had a relative that had a disease, now we can medicate you so you're not going to get it. Honest to God, I mean, if you told me this stuff like 20 years ago, I'd say there's no way. But it's a fear-based system, okay? And fear is fantastic for controlling people. It maintains order. I mean, in fact, not only does it maintain order, you can give up your rights. I mean, how many people gave up their rights when 9/11? Okay, how many people are giving up rights because Mickey got some measles? Okay, yeah. And you're talking, most of them were vaccinated in the first place, but some of them weren't up to date. I mean, it's ridiculous to cause this panic and fear. Instill beliefs and philosophies. That's what fear does. Fear, obedience. It's a phenomenal motivator. I mean, if you went into a doctor and the doctor says, no, dude, you've got a fever. Fevers actually increase your immune system. For every 1 degree increase in temperature, your speed of your immune system doubles. Your body is actually made in the image and likeness of God. It's a very intelligent response. All you got to do is get your healthy nervous system, eat right, think right, sleep right, and your body is going to recover from this lack of ease that you're experiencing. Well, does he make money for that? No. Are you going to be motivated? Well, maybe. You might. I mean, I tell my patients, by God, you are made in the image and likeness of God. You walk by a mirror, you smile. You say, damn, I'm a self-healing, self-regenerating machine. But look at this. You got to fear bacteria. Even though we've got pounds of this stuff in our system, we need bacteria. My God, when you're walking on the ship, the gal's passing out Purell. Yeah. And I go in and I mean, okay, we almost didn't make it on the ship, okay? Okay, I don't know if you know this, but even though you're going to Alaska and you're leaving America, you need passports. Okay, this is me and my wife's passport card that we got within 2 hours because I forgot the passports at home. So just know if you go on a ship, bring your passports. Okay, but so I was like giddy, happy, elated walking up the boardwalk, and very loud. Okay, and they were passing out this Purell, and I said, "Good God, that's insane!" And there's like 5 people in front of me, and this one guy, he stops his cart and he gets it, and he's rubbing it on his face, on his arm, and I'm going, "Good God, man, we need healthy bacteria. I've got Staph epididymis, baby, that protects me from all sorts of funguses." You know, it's like, but fear the bacteria. Okay, and thank God we got antibiotics. I mean, antibiotics are poisonous mold. You know, you got to be careful of doing this stuff. Fear the insect. Good God, this could be dangerous. You know, that's why we got to kill the bugs, the herbicides. Nobody thinks that this is getting in the groundwater. Zika. Oh, good God. Yes, we've known about it for 50, 60 years. It's never been associated with birth defects. And so if you have been exposed to Zika virus and you're in Brazil, for God's sake, get to Colombia. Okay? Because evidently Zika virus in Colombia does not negatively affect pregnant women. So it's okay. It's just that damn Brazil. But if you're going to Colombia, don't forget your passport. Okay? God knows I did that. In genetics. Yeah. Yeah, there's some good stuff in Colombia. And genetics. It's a biologic law that you pass on healthy genes. Otherwise, your species doesn't exist. You have to, okay? I mean, this is how we're made. You cannot pass on negative, defective genes. You're talking that's less than 1% to 2% of diseases. So you get a 97, 98% chance that your body is going to be healthy, fine, and perfect. But this fear-based medicine, it's phenomenal. And there's the whole thing, you know, give birth at a hospital, trust your doctor. Doctors are not smart. Okay, they're very well educated because they are the distribution arm for the largest industry in the world, the pharmaceutical industry. We know that. But they are not skilled in health. I mean, the doctors for emergency in this country are the best in the world. But ask them to regulate physiology with a chemical? I mean, 100 years from now, they're going to go in and going, you're shitting me. You mean you had a doctor that actually gave you a chemical to alter your blood pressure? Okay? Without trying to find out what the healthier blood was like? You know, or to find out why your body adapted? One of the things I tell my patients, because if they're in this mindset that this is an omnipotent being who knows all and the top of his game, okay, that they're the greatest in the world, you got to do a pattern interrupt with these people. So I'll ask them a couple of things. I'll say, okay, what kills more people, medical doctors or guns? No. You got to look at the body language they do. And this is, you got to ask this of somebody taking multiple prescriptions. They'll look down at the ground and, gee, well, doctors, I guess. Okay, now, 100% of the people taking multiple prescriptions, you ask them this, okay, you say, look, okay, buddy, if you've got no access to the pharmaceuticals, I know you're taking the beta blocker ACE inhibitor and the statin drug and the cholesterol drug, and then you got the Prilosec for sure because you can't eat right, and then you got the Sominex, okay, or Lunesta, okay? Now, if you had no access to pharmaceutical products, okay, you and me, we just go off to a desert island, we got fresh fish, fresh fruit, you got sunlight exposure, you got to swim every day, but no access to pharmaceuticals. Would your health improve or decline? Guess what 100% of the people say? Improve. People know this doesn't work. But instead, you abdicate authority in this stupid system, and then you give birth at a hospital, which is absolutely insane. Because what do? My God, they cut that cord before it's done pulsating. There's no animals in the world that could go through a birth process. In fact, if you want to, if you have a dog or a cat that's pregnant that's going to give birth, have like 3 or 4 neighbors come by and check it to see if it's dilated. Stick an IV and a baby monitor over the fur, okay? You know, of course you don't want the cat to walk around, so we're going to lay that cat back on its legs, okay, up in the air. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. Do you think there's going to be some birth challenges there? Just checking, okay. And vaccinating, Dr. O'Shea presented this brilliantly because this has never been done on an animal species. Heck, there's no even animal studies. 69 doses of 16 different vaccines, and that's by the time they're 18. And each vaccine triggers a response that's inflammatory. And most diseases that we're looking at that our society is affected with are inflammatory diseases. It's like, how stupid. But don't worry about it. You can eat this, okay? You don't need to think about it because you can have the drug that will affect this. And I know it sounds sick, but a doctor came up with actually a rather brilliant idea. They were going to mix statins in with the condiments at burger joints. So this way, even though eating this causes inflammation and causes your body to adapt to raise cholesterol, because cholesterol, you make cortisol, which is a great anti-inflammatory, but you also make every glucocorticosteroid, mineralocorticosteroid, sex hormone out of cholesterol. So you need cholesterol for the adrenals to function. So you can take the drug or do the treatment, but none of this stuff is involving self-responsibility. Oh, and by the way, cancer does not cause you to lose hair. Okay, just want to be sure of that. Okay, cancer therapies, and this is what most people die from, is not the cancer, the therapies. So this entire fear-based thing, it's losing respect for your body. By God, if you had respect for your body, I am not kidding. Walk by a mirror and smile, because this is what we're doing. We got a world in chaos, toxic environment, toxic food. So how do we fix it? We fix it by changing it. The opposite of fear is love. If you start loving yourself, you're going to think about what you're going to put in your system. You're going to go up and give people a hug. You're going to say, hey, look, don't be fear-based and take a chemical to alter your physiology. John Lennon. There are two basic motivating forces, fear and love. When we're afraid, we pull back from life. When we're in love, we're open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. Evolution and all hopes for a better world rest in the fearlessness and open-hearted vision of people who embrace life. If you're embracing life, what are you doing? Okay, are you taking a chemical to alter your physiology? No. And this is the cool part, because the world is changing. This is why they're forcing medical procedures on you. This is why they're taking the rights away. Because Mickey got sick, okay, all the kids in California now have forced medical procedures on them. Was anybody here at Love-Ins or war rallies back in the 60s? I'm the only one that went to Griffith Park? Okay, you know, because they were fighting for just to change society. Do you think that those people would accept forced medical procedures without saying, hey, this is too much? You know, what I'm getting is an apathy from the adults. They say, it's fine now because my kids are too old. Doesn't really involve me. And it's like, no, it does involve you. You know, you might have grandkids, but all of a sudden, are you thinking about Social Security? Because it's not going to be there with 1 in 2 of our population having autism. 96% of them don't work. So this is something, we have this change in belief system, and this is a pattern that's been around for forever. And what's neat is if you realize that there's a pattern and you can see how it's laying out. It's like, first you have an idea or discovery. Okay, like let's say we have a system where there's multiple gods. In fact, there's a god that rides a chariot around. Okay, we'll name him Apollo. We got a god over here, Poseidon, protects us. Okay, so then we develop a beautiful, rigid model. We got to sacrifice something, you know. Hopefully not as human sacrifice, but you know, you got to kill a couple of goats or something, okay? But then we kill a goat and our boat still sank, okay? So you start to develop challenges with that belief system. And so in the allopathic belief system is that your body is a collection of parts. Okay, and the brilliant philosopher, B.J. Palmer, he said people are delusional. They think that eyes see, ears hear, stomach digest, okay? Because dead people have those parts and it doesn't work. So right now, the allopathic model is mechanistic. And they're looking at the parts. Okay, so if your part isn't working right, we're going to cut it out or drug it or change its physiology for some reason. They're not looking at this, but that's the model. Okay, now the model's doing really good because using chemicals to alter physiology really does work. And if you have any friends that are taking like blood pressure drugs or cholesterol drugs, and they're in this mindset of where they need to take it to be healthy, ask them if they have a dog or a cat. You know why? Because then you go up, because they're taking these drugs and they think the drugs are making them healthy. Really, what was the blood pressure of your dog? What do you mean you didn't measure it? Good God, man, that dog could be sick. It could be dying right before your eyes. Don't you know blood pressure is the silent killer, for God's sake? Get back and check your dog's blood pressure. You know, I mean, it's so ludicrous when we look at, there's no way you would do that. Okay, so now, the challenges with this, because the allopathic model, it's more people are dying from the diseases. So this is the revolutionary part. They're dying from the therapies. They're dying from everything. So now we have this vitalistic approach where you respect your body and realize that disease doesn't exist. It's just an adaptation to an environment. If you're going to be not drinking healthy water, your blood pressure has to go higher because the blood's not efficient. I mean, it's just an adaptation. So, if you can hear my voice, you're part of the resistance.